Well, this week we are bringing you G20 All Access. World leaders are getting ready to head to St. Petersburg, Russia for the G20 summit. It's the premier forum for economic discussions about financial problems that face the globe and matter to us here in mid-Michigan. ABC 12's Washington Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro is in Russia, where she tells us what our local lawmakers and local members of Congress say they want done at this year's G20 summit.
We're here in St. Petersburg because this is the first time since the Great Recession that world leaders are dealing with an economy that's stable enough to allow them to engage in talks that might actually lead to reform. The G20 agenda is wide-ranging, but I talked to our local lawmakers about what they say will have the biggest impact on your life. This is a city known for its churches, palaces, monuments, and bridges. But right now, our lens is focused on the world's most powerful leaders, meeting here in St. Petersburg for the G20 summit. And they have their work cut out for them.
The decisions that are made about global competitiveness, certainly our trade relationships, have a huge impact on mid-Michigan.
Here are the goals for this year's G20. Growth through quality jobs and investment, trust and transparency, and effective regulation. Congressman Dan Kildee says the U.S. must participate in a real way, pushing hard on the issues that impact our workers and our economy.
If you're worried about keeping your job, you should be worried about what is happening at these G20 discussions.
G20 nations make up 2/3 of the world's population and 80% of international global trade. But the group of leaders is thought to be small enough to still be an effective decision-making body. Senator Carl Levin has advice for President Obama during the negotiations.
I think it's important that we tell the Russians to their face when we disagree with them, and to the other countries, not just the Russians, tell other members of the G20 if their trade practices are restrictive of American goods and discriminate against American goods. We ought to tell them that.
Our lawmakers tell me they think our strength as a nation lies in our workforce and ability to innovate. And they're hopeful that with a better trade policy and aggressive enforcement of international regulations, our economy will change. And it all starts here in St. Petersburg.
I know that if there is a level playing field, that our U.S. workers and our products and our services will outcompete others.
President Obama will be meeting with world leaders here despite tensions with Russia and amid an escalating situation in Syria. But the White House tells us the president will remain focused on the types of discussions that our local lawmakers say are imperative to keeping our economy on track. Reporting in St. Petersburg, Russia, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
To more news now, Nelson Mandela